Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the conversion phase of marketing. This is an exciting one when we take someone from being a prospect into a paying customer. When you're able to collect that check and giving yourself that big thumbs up, the pat on the back. But it's also sometimes one of the most challenging, because just think about it for a moment. You've built your tribe. You've demonstrated that you are the expert in this industry. People look up to you. They're following you. They're commenting on every post you're putting up on Facebook. They're liking. They're sharing it with their friends and so forth. But now it's time to step up to the plate, because it's your turn to convert that person from the prospect into a customer. Besides, you spend all this energy building your tribe, your community, and position yourself as the expert. So you want to convert them into a paying client. So when it comes to converting these individuals into clients, you think about it's that culmination of the entire journey where they started off being a complete stranger and now they're totally trusting you. And just remember that people are hungry. You've been teasing them a little bit. You've been saying all this great stuff. So they're hungry. They're ravenous. So pretty much you just have to put it on the plate. It's not about using hard strategies, like things like you're always closing on them. You're doing trial closes. It's none of that. It's simply you are positioning yourself where they absolutely must say yes. That is your goal. Now, first and foremost, you have to remember, and this was something you have to address, is that everybody goes into the buying conversation with one thing in their mind. What's in it for me? How do they benefit the most? If you don't address that, then you're not going to be able to close the deal. They're not going to want to buy your services. If somebody is starving for, let's say, a pizza, and you come at them with a salad, they're looking like, why the heck do I want a salad, when they're just determined they really want that pizza? So you must think, how do you do that? Because people want to solve that need. Think about when someone buys a car. They have a need for getting from one destination to another. You know, when they're hungry, people who go grocery shopping. They have a need because they need food in their house. They're always looking to solve a particular need that they have, and they want to do it properly. So your role is ensuring that whatever you put in front of them, it is the ideal solution to the problem they are currently experiencing. It's not what you think they're experiencing. It is what they actually are. And so many times people miss the mark on this because they think, well, they have to be feeling like this. It's only logical. But if you never ask them, think about how many things you might miss out on. So you must take a moment and actually ask your audience, what are they hungry for? What do they need help with the most? And then and only then do you know what you need to be doing to convert them. So now, here's something that you need to keep in mind. In a lot of cases, people are focused more on their wants than their needs. And in some cases, you're going to have to shift their focus from what they want to what they need. So let's look at a couple scenarios where this makes sense here. Like a simple one would be, say someone's really hungry for a cheeseburger, but you know that they keep talking like about they need to lose weight. They're like, oh, I got to get to the gym. I got to do this. So is that cheeseburger in their best interest? Probably not. So you might have to steer them closer towards actually eating a salad or something that's a healthier choice. So they need a salad even though they want a cheeseburger. So your role in this situation, you have to persuade them that their need is going to have a stronger impact in their life than their wants. Because sometimes we forget about how badly that need is and our want shifts. So we have to get them to line up. So think about, like, imagine just like a line in front of you, and on one side of it, off, let's say far to the left, there's that want, and their focus is there. And just on the other side of the line that's right down the middle in front of you is what they actually need. What you have to do is shift their focus slowly but surely away from that want back to what they need. And so then ultimately they become in alignment. They go, oh my gosh, you know what? You're right. I've been wanting to lose weight. I really need to eat that salad instead, no matter how badly I really want that cheeseburger. This is what I really need. So you need to think about that analogy in your business. How do you get people to shift their focus? Because when they're both in alignment, you can be able to get them to say yes so much easier than trying to forcefully get them, you don't need that, you have to have this. Like, why do I need it? Because if their why is not involved, they're never going to want to buy that, what you're offering. Now, another factor in this conversion process, it's how you go about moving someone closer from like where they are to, getting them to say yeses. And it's really not about trial closes. Like, it's kind of saying, so how are you feeling about this? Does it sound like what you want? Nothing like that. It is all about the value that you're giving in this conversation. And your ultimate goal in this case is to get them to say yes themselves. So it could be something like, man, those salads, like, look at me. I gave up eating burgers. I've been eating more salads, and, I lost the 2 pant sizes and blah, blah, blah. In that case, you're not having to do trial closes. They're going, yeah, you're right. I need to do that. They're going to have that self-realization on their own. So you have to look at, in your case, in your business, what do you need to be stating to somebody so they have that self-realization, and then they can be able to say yes. And it's not about, doing the typical cost benefit, like, your little tea box, like, here's your pros, here's your cons, and lining them all up. It's none of that. It's simply, how do they have that self-realization when they go, yes, this is exactly what I need? Now, another thing that you really want to make sure that's part of this process, and it's something that people forget about it when you're converting somebody from a close, and to close them, it's knowing when to shut your mouth. There's been so many sales and deals that have been lost because the salesperson just keeps talking and talking and talking long after the person's like, I'm ready to buy. And guess what happens when you don't shut your mouth and you keep going? The person kind of goes, no, you know what? I don't really want this anymore, because you've created doubt. When people are ready to buy, you have to just let them say, okay, let's do this. Let's go. You give them a little nudge, and then you let them do it. Your goal is to listen far more than speaking. It is absolutely vital, because people love to hear the sound of their own voice. They want to hear, like, yes, this makes sense to me. I want this, and so forth. If they have questions, whatever, you want them to be asking them. And most importantly, when you give that call to action, like, let's say that you're wanting things up, like, so everything looks good, let's get this thing started. And if you say something like that, your goal is just to be quiet, and you're waiting, because in that momentary pause, often people are thinking, like, you know what, you're right, I need to do this, or like, I have a couple questions. And when you interrupt them, that interrupts that decision-making process, and you can easily find yourself having to start over again or further back. So don't interrupt someone's ability where they're making that decision. Let them do it. So think of it like playing a game of chicken. The first 2 blinks loses. So in this case, don't blink. Let the person that you're prospecting, let them make the first move, because then you are maintaining control, and that's what you want. Now, all of these are just a couple different strategies and things you want to involve in the conversion process. But there's one that's more important than all of them put together, and that is having the right mindset. If you don't have the right mindset going into a sales conversation, it doesn't matter how well prepared you are, you're going to lose. Think about how many times you've been approached by someone and they had that aura of desperation, like, if I don't sell this, I'm not eating today. Well, they're going to convey that emotionally to you. Or that person that's just reeking of fear. They're like, oh my gosh, you just intimidate the crap out of me, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what happens? You sense on that too. And your prospects can sense that. It doesn't matter if you're on the phone, you're in person. People can sense it. Even though they might not know what it is, it's registering them like something doesn't seem right. So if you're feeling that way, you have this sense of doubt before you pick up the phone, you jump on Skype, Zoom, or whatever to talk to somebody, what you absolutely must do is change your state. You must change how you're feeling. You must go from a position of weakness to a position of complete strength and dominance, that you're going to own the conversation, that you are absolutely certain of your outcome, that no one can take it away from you. A great example is, let's say that you're to look at professional sports, like I'm going to use like downhill skiing, since it's one of my favorite things to do. If you're looking at Olympic sports and any type of professional sports, especially like in Olympic skiing, what you'll see in a lot of these cases is that they're going to have pictures, images of the entire race that they're going to run. And what they've done is, before they ever step foot on the mountain, they're visualizing completing that race successfully, crossing the finish line, going through every move that they have to make. And when you're getting ready for that conversation, you have total confidence. That's what you want to do. You want to rehearse it in your mind. How does this sales conversation go? What types of objections that come up? And you handle them. You just make a bam. And you do all these things and you say, let's get started. And they say, yes, let's do this. That's the way you have to play it out in your mind. Because then there's no zingers anymore. Because you've already had the conversation and you've already won it. Now you're just actually doing it. So you must practice consistently so you have absolute confidence. If you're a little uncomfortable with the sales conversation, ask a friend, someone that you value, to listen and ask for their opinion. Because when you go and start prospecting and you're making this sales conversation to convert someone from that prospect into a paying client, you want to know absolutely certainly you're not going to muck it up, because in most cases you have one shot to get this right, just one. So if you mess it up, you're done. You're not going to be able to go back and say, well, I know this one didn't really go well. I wanted to see if we could do the presentation again. Most people are going to say, sorry, buddy, you had your chance. Good luck. Click, and you're done. So you need to make sure when you go in there, you're absolutely certain you're going to walk out with a check in hand and that you're going to be winning on top. So all these things together is just one part of that conversion process, which is one more component of the 6 phases of marketing. So next week, tune in, where we're going to dive into a stage that's often forgotten, and that is the expansion phase, where it's where you take these people that you've just converted into paying clients, and how do you convert them from paying clients into raving fans, which then ultimately generate referrals for your business, which is one of the strongest ways to grow it, because it's like free marketing at this point. So we're going to dive into some of the ways that you can really do that. So make sure that you tune in next week when we dive in and we wrap up these 6 phases of marketing with the expansion phase.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.